what a terrible thing it would be to be a Ubisoft employee and wake up this beautiful Monday morning. A severe case of the Mondays of astronomical proportions, as Ubisoft is experiencing fallout with its own investors as their Star Wars Outlaws game is failing financially and their company's stocks are tanking. We're going to go through it today by first looking at Ubisoft stock prices on Yahoo Finance. I pulled it up. You guys have to see how their company has done during the entirety of their existence. In 2014 September, they were at 13 euros, or close to around that number, and since then, almost 10 years later exactly, they are now at the same price as their stocks have tanked, to which investors are blaming that on the quarterly revenue. But many people know that Star Wars Outlaws has a lot to do with this, as well as the Assassin's Creed Shadows controversy. It seems that this company cannot catch a break no matter what they do. As only a couple of days ago, it seems, when they had these investors meetings, when they were having these conversations on how to proceed with their games and their company, they took a nosedive. And one explanation provided by a user shows that it may be because the investors let it happen. As you can see here, on the 5th of September, the price was up to $14.70 and then it just dipped all the way down to $13.45. Now, of course, as usual, people love to buy into the dip, and then they were able to recover it about a quarter of the way, but we know how these things go. Even when it recovers, it will eventually take another nosedive if the trend is to be trusted. And the reason I say that is because it's happened before. A couple of days ago, it took a nosedive and then people tried to help it recover but failed. And then it happened again prior with a nosedive and then people tried to help it recover but failed. And that is a trend that you see repeat itself over and over, and it has gotten progressively worse ever since the release of the Star Wars Outlaws game. So let's take a look at this post from Dr. Circantoto. I don't want to beat this to death, but Ubisoft stock in Paris is currently dropping another 9%. Market cap is down to 1.7 billion euros or US $1.9 billion. And yes, Ubisoft is seriously going through it. Now, of course, this is a quote tweet from a previous tweet he made. Investors seem very disappointed about Star Wars Outlaws sales numbers and let Ubisoft stock crash. So this might actually explain why Ubisoft took such a huge hit, at least financially, from within its own investors circle. Shares lost over 10% combined in the last 2 days, so the company just slipped to under 2 billion in market cap in Paris. Ubisoft is almost at a 10-year low. Now, I do know that Ubisoft was having meetings about this. They were having meetings about how to proceed with both their games and with their business. And now investors are writing open letters to this company, not only asking for structural and strategic changes, but they're now asking for prices to be lowered, staff to be fired, and for the removal of the CEO himself. And you guys have to see this story for yourself so that you understand how bad this is for Ubisoft. This is from Tech Raptor. Activist Ubisoft investor calls for strategic and structural change. And I've also seen this story on the Wall Street Journal, although I did not provide that story today. A company that serves as a significant minority shareholder. These guys have a lot of money in this company. Ubisoft has called for major structural and strategic change at the studio and has expressed deep dissatisfaction with Ubisoft's current direction. So they are not happy with what Ubisoft is doing, as well as millions of gamers out there. But hey, let's not listen to them. Their opinions don't matter. In an open letter to Ubisoft's board of directors, which CC's CEO Yves Guillemot and stakeholder Tencent, investment company AJ Investments criticizes Ubisoft's current performance and strategic direction. Now, just so you all know, AJ Investments is a hedge fund in Slovakia. So these guys are all about investments. They invest into anything. And in fact, Raptor here says that they are an activist investment company. AJ Investments says Ubisoft's recent quarterly results, which saw upcoming releases The Division Resurgence and Rainbow Six Mobile pushed back beyond March next year, have heightened its concerns about management's ability to deliver results for shareholders. So they don't trust Ubisoft to be able to deliver anymore, and now they're calling them out for that. They set out 4 proposals to increase the value of Ubisoft for all stakeholders. They include allowing Ubisoft to go private, selling the company, changing current management, and ousting Guillemot as CEO. They're like, get rid of this guy. He's ruining everything and he's making us all go broke. The DEI initiative apparently is not working, or at least whatever strategic play Ubisoft has had in the works for some time, it just has not been doing them any favors, especially in the money market. As for its reasoning, AJ investors say that Ubisoft is being mismanaged and that shareholders are currently hostages of Guillemot family members and Tencent who take advantage of them. So not only are are they saying that the CEO should be ousted because of his mismanagement of the company, but they are also saying that they're hostages to him and his family who have control of the majority of the company. So they're saying his whole family needs to be gone. This is incredible, guys. The company goes on to say that it cannot understand Ubisoft's management strategy and that the studio seems more focused on pleasing investors rather than providing an exceptional experience for its fans. And this is something that gamers have been saying for the longest time, for months, maybe even years when it comes to Ubisoft specifically, that this company has no idea how to handle its video games, it has no idea how to handle its fans, and it has no idea especially how to handle criticism. And criticism is one of the biggest things that they have had to endure. AJ Investors claim that many of the studio's IPs, including Rayman, Watch Dogs, and Splinter Cell, are being underutilized. And I agree with that. When is the last time we had a Splinter Cell game? That's right, a year before Ubisoft stock prices started to go up. Splinter Cell has not seen a title in over a decade, ever since the last one that came out in 2013. But there are other games that Ubisoft is neglecting in order to push games like Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows, games that are riddled in controversy of different natures, different types, and are being scolded and vilified by gamers everywhere. And now the stock prices are dropping, investors are panicking, and requests like these are being made. The company does, however, say that Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was merely okay. Yeah, I guess it was okay. I've never played it. I have played the other Prince of Persias because I actually love the original games, but that nobody talks about the game anymore, which is also true. I don't see anybody talking about it. That's probably because it's a single-player game everyone's finished, guys. Not every game needs to be headline news every day of the week, which I also agree with, and they have provided the letter with these requested changes that I'm going to read through just a little bit so that you can have receipts to share with all of your buddies. But further on into the letter, AJ Investors proposes several ways by which Ubisoft could improve its performance and its standing with shareholders. They include taking the company private for a fair price, as well as laying off staff, a procedure AJ Investors rather callously referred to as optimizing staff levels. So they're like trying to be super friendly when they say, fire all these people. They're making things worse. Other recommendations include refocusing on core IPs and another call for changes in management. This letter comes after industry analyst Serkan Toto, which is the guy I just referred to, pointed out last week that investors seem very disappointed about the sales of Star Wars Outlaws, with shares dipping 10% in just 2 days. So I think there is validity to the claim that investors just let this thing die. They're letting it die because Ubisoft isn't listening during earnings calls, and because gamers have lost complete faith in the company as a whole. Toto followed this up with another post today, noting that stocks had fallen another 9% in Paris. So these stories do coincide, and I didn't actually know that until I read this paragraph right here. But we're still going to move on to the letter. So great job, Serkan Toto. Great job on that reporting there. And we're going to take a look at this letter that I have pulled up for you all to see. So 9/9/2024. So this was as of today, maybe even just a few hours ago, to the board of directors and members of committees Ubisoft Entertainment. And they did indeed CC Mr. Yves Guillemot, CEO and chairman of Ubisoft Entertainment. And they CC'd Tencent Holdings. So everyone is going to be reading this letter. The CEO gets to read the letter in which they ask for him to be fired. So he's probably panicking. He's like, how dare they write such nonsense and then send it to me? The nerve, the gall, the audacity. Dear members of the board, dear fellow shareholders, as a significant minority shareholder in Ubisoft Entertainment via AJ Investments and our partners, we are writing to express our deep dissatisfaction with the current performance and strategic direction of the company. The recent quarterly results, which included the postponement of key games like Rainbow Six Siege and The Division into the 2025 lineup, and a lowered revenue outlook for the Q2 2024, have heightened our concerns about the management's ability to deliver value to shareholders over the long term. Share price of Ubisoft had decreased by more than 40% over the last year, which is horrible for a video game company as big as Ubisoft, compared to rise of its competitors and indexes. And there have been a lot of companies as of recently that have taken to the skies with their revenue on their video games that they have made. Black Myth Wukong, hello. But they say this letter consists of following points. Take Ubisoft private or allow it to sell it to strategic investor. Ubisoft valuation, why we believe Ubisoft is great, undervalued company and should be worth between 40 to 45 euro per share. Our concerns about the future of the company and our proposal. So they say take private process by PE firms or Guillemot family plus Tencent at fair price. Allow sale process as we are in discussion with investors to fight against Guillemot family with so-called proxy fight at extraordinary shareholder meeting. Change of the current management. So they say start hiring process of new CEO who will optimize the cost and studio structure for more agile and competitive company as Ubisoft should be. I want to say that number 3 is probably the most brutal request in this entire list, because telling the CEO that he should be removed and then sending it to him, that's just so insulting, but kind of hilarious. But it also says to the rest of the company that they think the CEO is not optimizing the cost and studio structure. They're saying that he's doing nothing with the company, that he's not doing anything to improve it, and that he needs to be gone. Now, this is the guy that said that Star Wars Outlaws was going to be an incredibly successful video game and that their marketing campaign for it was going to be astronomically and beautifully executed. But it appears that after all was said and done, it was nothing but a fizzle in the wind. We will use the French minority law to collect enough shareholders to start proxy fight and initiate sale process of Ubisoft to increase shareholder value for all shareholders. So they're saying that we're going to take this to the next level. AJ Investments are going to try and start a battle of the shareholders, if you will, so that they wield enough power in order to sell Ubisoft as a company. So they're going to try and force sell the company in an attempt to put Ubisoft and its CEO in their places. So Ubisoft valuation, we believe that Ubisoft is a great company developing, distributing, and selling video games. Ubisoft has long-standing history with providing great experience for players all around the world. Their IP such as Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Tom Clancy's, Just Dance, Crew, Rayman, and others are extraordinary and can attract millions of players over time. However, we believe that Ubisoft at current valuation is deeply undervalued and should be worth between 40 to 45 euro per share. But I think that this is the cream of the crop right here. This is the best part of this open letter to Ubisoft. It says that Ubisoft at current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostage of Guillemot family members and Tencent who take advantage of them. Management is focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focusing on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for the gamers. I think that this is incredibly ironic. Coming from a hedge fund company like AJ Investments, they're even saying that Ubisoft is prioritizing quarterly results over the satisfaction of gamers. So they're like, hey, you guys are supposed to be gamer pleasers. You guys aren't pleasing anybody though. You're just far too busy getting money. It's just so funny that it's coming from these people who are a hedge fund. Even they see that Ubisoft is doing something horribly wrong and they're calling it out now. And AJ Investments is no small company. They are pretty big. Now, they do have a minority shareholder value, but it is significant as stated. So even though the majority shareholders probably have a ton more, these people still have enough of a claim to the company that they can say things like this and have an impact. And it really is having an impact, which is concerning. But this goes far beyond just trying to remove a CEO or his family or trying to gain control of a company. These people go as far as accusing this family of amassing control to sabotage future partnerships and to enrich themselves with shares that they buy at a really low value in order to maintain the control that they've had for so long. And this information is coming out really fast. It says right here that we believe that Guillemot family and Tencent are discounting potential value of Ubisoft in order to buy more shares at lower valuation and eventually take full control of the company at heavily discounted valuation. We value the great work that has been done by the Guillemots over the decade in the Ubisoft, but now is time to move on and restart the business with new shareholder approach and new management CEO. They do go on. By talking about February 1st, 2023, when the Guillemot entities acquired more than 4 million shares of Ubisoft with the money from Tencent. In our view, recent delays of certain titles there are creating uncertainty amongst investors as beneficial for Guillemot and Tencent in order to acquire more shares at even discounted valuation, as Ubisoft is currently trading close to 15 euro per share, lowest point since 2015, giving Ubisoft valuation less than 2 billion euros. So these guys up at Tencent, this family Guillemot, who are apparently branched into other things as well, these 4 brothers, are trying to attain full control of this company so that they don't have to do anything with it, so that they don't have to make any beneficial partnerships with any other companies that want to invest in it. Funny enough, one of those companies that they mention is actually Blackstone, which I'll point to in just a second, but they assume that because of Tencent and Activision Blizzard, that they may use this as a tactic to get minority shareholders under the stress. The Guillemot family and Tencent owns more than 25% of shares. shareholders. 29.63% of voting rights of Ubisoft, as the table shows below. So what AJ Investments plans to do is to take the remaining 70% of the shareholders of the company, the minority shareholders. Based on their talks with other shareholders, they believe that they will have enough voting power to challenge the Galemos and take the company from them completely so that they can transform it. Which brings us to an incredibly interesting portion of the argument that they are presenting here. They say that because of the management and governance that Ubisoft has been failing horribly. The control exercised in September 2022 by Tencent and the Galemo family has effectively blocked potential acquisitions and partnerships that could have been beneficial for the company and its shareholders. And that's because the Galemos have been buying the dip repeatedly. More recently in 2022, private equity firms such as KKR and Blackstone expressed interest in acquiring Ubisoft, but were unable to proceed due to the existing agreements that prevent any single entity from gaining control without the Galemo and Tencent's consent. So that's it. They purposely sabotage beneficial partnerships with other companies that want to invest, and then once the share price starts tanking because people start losing faith in the company, the Galemo family and Tencent will buy at a very low price and then amass even more control over the company. So eventually they will have full control, and AJ Investments picked up on this. They caught them in the act of trying to do this, and now they're trying to stop them. This is crazy, dude! But look at what's been happening to the company over the last 10 years. Look at what's been happening to Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Look what has been happening as these people keep pushing DEI, for example. Everything that they do, everything that the Galemos do with this company, they fail. And before people start saying, well, at least they said no to Blackstone, that doesn't mean that these people are any better. Look what they've done to the company and what kind of games they release. They may not be partnered with Blackstone, but they're certainly pushing what Blackstone wants 100%. This pattern of blocking potential acquisitions has prevented much needed restructuring and revitalization that will benefit all the stakeholders of Ubisoft, and AJ Investments has recognized this because now they want to take the company from the Galemos. They must think that things are really bad at Ubisoft. We must not be seeing the entire big picture with this company and how in bad straits they truly are. And we are going to find out over the next few days how bad this really is, because I'm sure that people are going to start picking apart this open letter, which actually has a ton of information that spans from them describing the drops in stock prices over the last few years, amongst other things, operational efficiency, etc., etc. And this letter goes all the way down. It says that we encourage all the minority shareholders to contact us and support our initiative, and then they provide the email, sincerely, Jiraj Krupa, AJ Investments and Partners. So these guys are going to town on Ubisoft. They're ready to take over, and they've provided sufficient evidence to try and convince these shareholders to take their side and to buy this company. Ubisoft is in the middle of a war between itself and the people who invest in it, and the people in charge have been gatekeeping this company from having any kind of beneficial partnerships. And to be honest with you, that really does make a lot of sense when you think about how poorly their stock prices have been doing lately, and they just keep going down. Even after Star Wars Outlaws was released, this company's prices have been going down. It has not made a recovery, and there's a good chance that the company might not actually recover at all. And if you really take a look at everything that the Galemos have done for this company, they did good for a minute. I don't know how long they've been a part of this. I assume since almost the beginning, but really, the company's price has gone down to below the point that it was at before September 2014. Ubisoft is in trouble, and AJ Investments is like, hey guys, you see how badly this company is doing? Let's take over. Let's change this company from the inside out. Now, if they take over and then they give it to Blackstone, I really don't think that anything is going to change. But regardless of which side you take in this investment war, one thing is for certain, Ubisoft is in dire straits. They are doing terribly, and gamers are seeing it happen in real time. And that is all I've got for you guys in this video today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.